Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page, where I do this daily live stream all around the card, the divination card or the oracle card that I draw in the morning. And basically, that's to show us what's important for us to know about today, about the energy flowing that we can use for our soul growth, right? And for our highest good. And so, welcome. You know, that card actually sparks a spiritual conversation, and it's always interesting. It's always interesting. So welcome to the daily live stream and group card draw. Yeah, it's a gorgeous day here in Tomah, Wisconsin. It is. It's sunny and it's a little cool. I mean, it's not below zero, but it's a little cool. It's like in the mid 30s or so. But it's sunny out. Can't beat that, right? Can't beat that at all. So before we get too far down the road with the chatting, I'm going to take my phone and I'm going to like and share the live stream. And I invite you to do the same. And so that way, those individuals, those souls who are searching for this information, or a community like ours, it's easier to find, right? It's easier to find. So I'm going to post it over to my newsfeed, just so that my friends know that I'm live streaming. There we go. And please join. There we go. That's good. Okay. Excellent. All right. So, we're still in Mercury retrograde, right? We just got a couple more days to go. And I don't know what's going on with my camera. I have, you have the built-in camera for your laptop or your computer, right? And then most of us, we have external cameras to do our live stream shows, because the built-in camera isn't always sharp enough, right? And so I have an external camera. I've used one for a really long time, and for whatever reason, Be Live TV just doesn't want to recognize my external camera. I putzed with it for a little bit, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to let it go, not get it all worked up over it, and just use my built-in camera, right? Because it still works. It might not be as sharp as I like, but the image, but it's all right. It'll get us by today. Yeah, let's see who's in the live chat. Julie Shumway Hill's here. Hello, Julie. Good to have you here. It's always good to see you in the chat. All right. And Christine Pollock's here. Yay, Christine. One of my sisters. It's always good to see you in the chat. It's always good to have one of my sisters in the chat. Why? Because it's fun, and, we get to see each other a little bit, right? Yeah. And Stephanie's here too. Hello, Stephanie. Stephanie is our social media manager. And so you'll see her kind of posting stuff for us all the time. So thank you, Stephanie, for being here. Rochelle's here. She says, "Hi, Neshi. Don't feel too good." Uh-oh. All right. Got to send Rochelle a little extra. I love going her way. And she says it's beautiful and sunny there. Well, that's good. That's good. How much snow? Did you guys get any more snow, Rochelle, over your way? I saw something. I think it was Ann Keene had posted something on Facebook. I think it was yesterday or the day before, that they had snow over the weekend, and a lot. And they're in the upstate Michigan. Yeah. So I don't know if you saw any or not. Julie Hedges is with us too. Hello, Julie. It's good to have you in the house. And Tanya's here. Hello, Tanya. She says, "Hi, Neshi and everyone." It's always good to see your name in the chat too, Tanya. Well, Monday morning. And it started out to be a Monday, that's for sure. We got lots to get done, lots to do, and lots to get done. We're starting on the April issue of the Star Nations magazine. Actually, we've been working on it. The contributing writers have all been writing their pieces and sending them to their editors, and now they're slowly starting to trickle in. And so we have a few early submissions, and so working with those to get those prepped for layout, and that's what I was doing this morning. This is the fun part for me. I like, because I get to read the article first, right? And if they need a picture to go with it or pictures, I get to search for those. And to me, that's so much fun. It is. It's the creative end. And so, yeah, we're at the very beginning of the preparation process. The contributing writers have a couple more days to get their final article to me, the 28th, and then we're in the full-fledged magazine creation piece. And yeah, I enjoy it. I do. It's one of those things that feeds that part of me that I get. I love starting new projects. Love starting new projects. The adrenaline that goes with a new project. I love it. I love it. When something gets to a maintenance piece, I have a little bit more of a challenge staying excited about it. But the magazine certainly helps me to keep that excitement and that creative process going, and I love it. Yeah. So Rochelle says it wouldn't be Michigan without a blizzard. Well, that could be true. That's so funny, Rochelle. And Julie says my article will be right on time. Yay! Yes, Julie is one of our contributing writers. She writes the Tarot Journey to the Stars, and so she includes both the tarot and also astrology. And yeah, it's always good I love reading those articles. She says, like at the deadline. Well, that's good. That's all right. Even if you're sliding in to toss it on my desk, so to speak, electronically, on the 28th at midnight, you're still good. You're still good. It's when it's over like a day or two that it tends to cause a little bit of a havoc with timing. But yeah, you're good. Julie Hedges, you're good. All right. So let's get to the cards, huh? It is and let's see. The first card that came today, we've had before. There's not many of the cards that we haven't had. Now, I think we might be missing maybe 2 or 3. But this one, look who showed up to visit again. Crane. And the Gaelic word for crane is Corr. Yeah. Notice how the trees have leaves on them, right? So you know that it's, spring, summer, maybe late summer. Got a full moon in the background. Hills in the back. We also have that dolmen again in the back. And we have carvings on the rocks, on the stones, swirls. Kind of reminds me of Newgrange in a way. Yeah, we've got water. And then we have the crane. Notice how he's standing on one foot. One foot's in the water on the ground, and the other is in the air. Yeah. Look at those pretty flowers down below, too. Yeah, let's see. Couldn't see what those are. Just above the flower, there's another red. Those are buds. Flower buds, almost ready to bloom. Yeah. Crane. Longevity, right? Yeah. The words associated with crane is secret knowledge and patience. Longevity. Secret knowledge, patience, and longevity. So in the Asian culture, especially the Chinese, they look at crane for longevity, and they also mate for life. Patience, as he's hunting for fish, and standing there having to be patient for one to go by close enough, right? And the secret knowledge is that he's the guardian at the threshold of that dolmen. The dolmens are all about rebirth. Yeah. That's something. So when you look at this card, where is your eye drawn first? What brings you into the spirit of the card, or the essence of the card? Where do you get drawn first? Yeah. Yeah, the lighting on my camera keeps going in and out. Sorry about that. Yeah. Hey, Valerie's here too. Hello, Valerie. Good to have you here. And so is Gina. Hello, Gina. Good to have you here. The ladies of the afternoon, right? All right. So here is what Philip Cargome has to say about crane. He says the card shows a crane fishing in a pool. Its legs are crossed to show the Ogham letter Muin, and it gazes into the water, patiently waiting for sight of a fish. Behind the pool is a cave entrance to the underworld, and in the evening sky a full moon is rising. The foreground grow bitter vetch, also known as carmel from Corr, and bloody crane's bill. So Corr can bring us qualities of patience and perseverance. Patience and perseverance. The crane will stand for hours peering into the water until the time is right to dart at its prey. Combined with the ability to be patient, the crane conveys the capacity to be focused and to be able to concentrate without distraction. It brings an ability to guide others into the underworld, to help them with their transition at the time of dying, or with their journey to the inner realms, as well as conveying an ability to work in the underground. The crane symbolizes arcane science, or the secret knowledge, which in the Druid tradition is represented by the Ogham script, the tree language of Druidry. In its widest sense, learning this language involves learning to read the book of nature. Yeah. The crane. And as you take in the information, remember that you're taking it in not just with your physical eyes. You're taking in the information from the card that's specifically for you in many, many different ways. You're taking it in emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. That light language. And we talk about this, you guys think I'm a broken record, right? Those of you that remember vinyl and turntables, is that it's always good to be grounded, right? Always good to be grounded, because it helps us to be prepared for no matter what kind of information is coming to us. And so when we're taking in this kind of information from spirit through the cards, it's always good to be grounded. So I'm glad you guys are able to take in the information. For those of you who haven't done your grounding yet today, you might want to pause and just kind of take a moment and do that, right? And look who else is here, is Rochelle Ashley. Hello, Rochelle. She goes, bonjour. Yes, Crane came to me last night as well when the other animal spirits came to visit. Really? Isn't that interesting? So if you don't mind sharing, Rochelle, what did Crane offer to you as information? And Julie is saying, the moon drew my eyes first. The moon. Okay. The moon. that full moon. Full moon's about completion, right? And it's about soft illumination. It's that taking that sunlight and then bringing it down to the earth at night. That soft illumination so that we can see in the dark, right? So we can see in the dark. I'm so used to having my external camera over to the right more, and so I have to remember to look at the camera. So if I'm not, I apologize. It's just out of habit that I'm looking to my right. You get used to something. It's like you're caught in a rut. Stephanie is saying that the sandhill cranes have been all over the valley here. Yes. The other day, last week, Wednesday, in fact, that was solstice, right? I'm sorry, equinox. Early morning, this had been maybe 7 o'clock-ish. I was letting George out, and when I opened the door, I could hear the cranes. They were calling me, what, cranes? This is kind of early for them. And you could hear them coming, and they flew right over the house calling. They were just above treetop level, and I know that they were probably going to one of the fields about a quarter mile away. And so I don't know. I think there were like 6 of them, and it's really something to see, aren't they, when they come in like that? And Tanya said that she felt grace and calm and peaceful. Yeah. When you're still, right? Even though you're waiting for something, you're being patient, he's fishing, right? But we can tap into that calmness and that peacefulness as we're waiting. I think maybe that's why some people like to go fishing. I don't happen to be one of them. But almost all my brothers go fishing. And Stephanie is saying, crane reminds me of the patience and dedication of Job. Yeah. What is that saying about Job? The patience of Job, right? Something like that. Yay, Julie Hedges grounded today. Yay. Good for you, Julie. Thank you for doing that. So is Pat. Yay, Pat. Thank you for grounding. Yeah. Because we certainly can tell the difference, can't we, when we're grounded and when we're not? In the old days, to be able to, before I had activated my Merkaba, is remembering to do it twice a day. The grounding and also the protection field. Yeah. So here, when I look at this card, especially this morning, because, we've had this a few times, and I had my hand, held it between my hands, and I was asking Crane, so what is it that you want us to look at this time? What's in the message this time around, right? And I got the distinct feeling that it's in the same frequency, if you will, of the cards yesterday. And yesterday we were talking about ancestral healing, right? Ancestral healing. And that, remember, it was the water dragon, and the water dragon came in reverse. And that was all about taking our time. Water dragon is a very primordial being. And so taking it back as far as we possibly can to get to the root of whatever trauma that is, and to finally heal it. So we're actually disrupting a cycle. So it doesn't have to go from generation to generation anymore, right? But the thing is that the water dragon really was conveying to go slow, to go incrementally, step by step, is to understand a piece of it, heal it at whatever body you're healing in first, because it has to go through all 4 of our bodies, right, for it to be complete. But the message was to go slow. There's no reason to throw yourself into a healing crisis. Is to go slow, heal that aspect, and then allow it to integrate. Take your time. And then when you're ready for the next body to be healed, and then start that, right? And so eventually, once you get through all the bodies, then you've actually healed and released whatever ancestral trauma that is. And so I think what I was feeling coming from Crane is that it was really, expounding on the piece of going slow, being patient. Being patient. And the thing is that when we do that kind of healing, because it's affected, many generations in our ancestry up to us, right? So when we start understanding that aspect, and we start the healing and releasing process, the wisdom that we gain from that really can help us tap into that, what they call that arcane science, that secret knowledge. Why and how? Because we have more access to our gifts. We have more access to our intuition, right? And we have a better understanding of ourselves. We just don't understand. We actually trust ourselves. We trust our intuition. So that secret knowledge that can also come. Yeah. The crane, it says the crane, let's see if you, that the goddess, that the crane also can represent the goddess as crone or wise woman. Right? And see, the crane can actually help guide us through the underworld, those inner realms. And so if we're tapping into the crane energy and accepting the gift that crane is offering us today, is that if you've decided to make that journey, that inward journey, that quest, if you will, to identify what ancestral emotional trauma that you're willing to look at and to face and to heal, right? If you're doing that, is that crane can actually help you with that too, is to be able to call on him, to be able to help you, guide you through that the underworld. Yeah, it says the capacity to be focused and be able to concentrate without distraction. It brings the ability to guide others into the underworld to help them with their transition at the time of dying, or the journey, or with their journey to the inner realms. So, he's offering us some help. If you choose to do that kind of healing, that deep clearing, cleansing, healing work, to be the disruptor in your ancestral line, that crane can actually help you with that. Yeah. That we don't have to do this stuff alone, right? We don't have to. Okay, so the author goes on to say that cranes dance in circles, and the ancients associated this ring dance both with the movement of the sun and the crane's role as underworld guides, leading souls out of incarnation and back again to birth. So we can be patient. And I know that the legs, how they're crossed, is a symbol, of the Ogham language, the Druid language, their written language. But for me, it also tells me that Crane has one foot in the physical world because he's touching the ground, He's grounded. And the other foot is up in the air, right? And so he has one foot with spirit or in spirit. And so that he can navigate both worlds. Yeah. He's the connection between the two. And since he's standing right in front of that cave or that dolmen, that that he also has knowledge, right? That secret knowledge. Yeah. So we're able to do that, to call on him. All right. I'm getting caught up in the chat room. Okay, so Rochelle says, the message was be comfortable with self, not seeking to join if it's not correct. Leading, speaking, and acting as a leader, know your own truth and follow it. Ooh, that's a good one. That's really good. So being a guide to you for that. Yeah, and sometimes it does take patience when you're a leader, doesn't it? Sometimes you have to wait a bit for people to catch up with you. Julie saying, wow, I know. Julie, you should have been around for that inverted water dragon. That was a big wow yesterday. Pat said, I found the water dragon to be extremely helpful with a reminder of being patient and going slow. Yes. Usually, when we're talking about soul growth and our soul contract and that sort of thing, that sometimes we feel like we're on this in this race, and it's not. It's all about the journey. It's all about the journey. We learn so much within the journey. Yes, the destination is also important, but the journey is the one that gives us our wisdom, because we went through the experience, right? We went through the experience, and yeah, and I have to say, I have to agree with you. Is that there's not many times when you can, Pat, when spirit, when we actually have a card and they're saying go slow, go incrementally, step by step, is to pay attention to that integration time, because that's an important time frame. You feel like it's a lull and you're not doing anything, but you're doing a great deal. You're bringing it into your physical body and you're grounding it to the earth plane. Yeah. Yep. And Julie is saying, thank you for being very specific about healing in the 4 bodies. Well, you're welcome, Julie. It's just been my experience that, just because we've healed one, a part of something and we think we're done, and then all of a sudden it's back again, but it might look a little different, it presents itself a bit differently, and we realize, oh man, that's the same thing. I thought I was done with that. Well, it's just coming back around in the next piece, which is another one of your bodies. So you might have healed it in the emotional body, but now we're going to be dealing with the mental body or the physical body. And so we have to go through all 4 for it to be done. Yeah. All right. And Julie's also saying, I have to jump off, but we'll finish the archives. You're welcome, Julie. Thanks for stopping by and adding to the conversation. I love it. Rochelle says, definitely healing ancestral trauma. That is the truth that that needs to be walked no matter what others think, Crane said. Yeah. And the thing is that we all have it. We all have some sort of ancestral trauma. We all do, whether it's emotional or mental, right? And so it's part of our soul contract here, I think. Yeah. And it doesn't matter. Where your people are from. If they're from this continent or the European continent or the Asian continent or the Russian continent, it doesn't matter. We all have ancestral trauma to heal. And we can actually kind of say that is a part of the wisdom that that they're giving to us still. We have in our blood, in our bones, our ancestral lineage, right? And that's everything that they are giving to us. And most times we're talking about the trauma, historical trauma, ancestral trauma. Usually we're talking about the trauma. But they also give us their collective wisdom. And so in that collective wisdom, when we do this kind of big medicine healing, and it lends to our soul growth, it also means that our descendants, they don't have to go through that stuff with that ancestral trauma. It's done for them, but they get to carry on the wisdom. That's what we're doing for our descendants and ourselves. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Pat says a lot came together for me with looking at healing the 4 bodies. Oh, well, that's good. That's good, Pat. Yeah. Sometimes we start with the easiest one, get that one done, right? I don't know if any of them are easy, but sometimes it's the way it happens. Rochelle says, and of course, my mother just walked on, so very appropriate in the respect as well. And a lot of ancestral historical trauma there. Yes. Yes. And one of the things I was mentioning yesterday, Rochelle, is that perhaps it was we wrote it into our soul contract here that we wanted to be able to experience that, the healing process. And I called us disruptors. That we have to disrupt that cycle because it goes from one generation to another, right? And when it gets to our generation, that we have a choice. We don't have to do anything, and it will just go from our generation to the next one. And then somebody maybe in that generation will be the disruptor. We don't know. But we can make the decision to fulfill that part of our contract and be the disruptor, to disrupt that cycle, do the healing for it, right? And with this one, they're actually telling us, making a very strong suggestion, now that we've got the second primary card today with Crane, is to go slow, to have patience. Don't rush it. It's all in divine timing, right? And for the healing to be complete is to go slow. You know, and it could take from this spring equinox to next spring equinox or the fall equinox. You know, it could take that amount of earth time to do. Because we have to keep in mind it took a long time to build this, to build that energy around it, going from one generation to another. Yeah. So we don't have to throw ourselves into a healing crisis. Rochelle's saying, "Oh, definitely. I know I was given the job to do away with the past traumas." And the thing is that we gave it to ourselves with our soul contract. What were we thinking? Don't we say that all the time? Every time, you know, there's a hard part, right? What were we thinking? All right, so I'm going to mark this page because I want to go back to it. It's only good I got these little pieces of paper here. I keep using over and over because the next card is Raven, and we've had Raven before. Yeah, and notice that the tree, the branch in this one has no leaves. A couple of leaves that are looking like they're ready to drop. Cloudy skies, a little blue. Cloudy skies, and the hill in the background is the hill that will eventually become. I think the Tower of London. Okay, now he has water there as well. That looks like a river to me. So it must be if it's flowing in front of the Tower of London, right? And there again, we have one eye looking at us in the crow. His back is to us. He's grounded. He's on a limb, a tree limb. We get to see all kinds of roots and stuff there, don't we? Along the river. And then right there is an acorn. Raven. And I know that the people who are in the live chat, that some of you have Raven for a power animal or a totem, and some of you have Crane for the power animal or totem. And so, they're here to help us as much as we're allowing them to help us. In other words, we have to ask them, right? We have to ask. Otherwise, what they're going to do is they're going to watch us. They're going to say, "Oh, she's almost ready to ask. Oh, no, false alarm. She didn't. She thinks she's going to do it on her own." Okay, we'll wait. And in the meantime, they are giving us synchronicities and signs, right? Prompting us, whether it's in numbers that we see, or maybe cloud divination, things that we see up in the cloud formations, or feathers or birds, or they try very, very hard to communicate with us, very hard. And and when we call on them to help us, they get to fulfill their job, right? They get to fulfill what they're charged to do. All right. So with Raven, healing, initiation, and protection. Healing, initiation, and protection. The card shows a raven perched on the bare winter branches of a beech tree that grows beside the ancient mound. This is the White Mound, in which is buried the head of Bran the Blessed, and on which in later times will be raised the Tower of London. And in Gaelic, raven is Bran, Barn, Bran. He offers initiation, protection, and the gift of prophecy. What is meant by initiation in practice may be as formal as actually undergoing an initiation ceremony, or as formal as, for example, being initiated into the mysteries of a new post or profession. It marks the death of one thing, which gives way to the birth of another. The power of Raven can also bring you the very deepest form of healing. The very deepest form of healing. Which is achieved through the process known as the resolution of the opposites, which is also known as the resolution of the opposites, giving you the possibility of resolving conflicts that have long lain buried in your unconscious or perhaps in your past. Okay, so it's a possibility that trauma, whether it's and I think it's an emotional trauma because it came with the water dragon, right? Is that if you go to the root of it in this ancestral line, you may find that there was this conflict that caused the emotional trauma. And so Crow is here to help support the crane information in going slow, being patient and going slow, and being able to be led to that secret knowledge. And so if you're led to the secret knowledge, Raven can actually help us with healing that conflict, identifying it and healing it. right? So when you look at these two cards together, just take them in. Take in the information that Spirit's offering and how that feels to you. Offering their assistance. You know, that crow actually can fly to the underworld. Navigate through there to bring back information from the underworld. The Druids used him a lot. It says the raven's connection with healing is reinforced when we consider it's a bird of prophecy and divination, integral facets of the healer's art. The raven could travel to the darkest regions of the underworld and bring back visions or auricular instructions for the seeker and healer. The raven has been seen as an oracle for thousands of years. The early Irish Druids divined according to their flight and cries. Okay. So, you know, and maybe it's a possibility that if you're in search of what could that trauma be, what could it be? That Raven can actually help you to divine that. Perhaps he can even fly to the underworld for you in seeking that knowledge, that information. Asking him to help you to go to the root of it, to help you understand what happened, what am I healing? What kind of emotional trauma am I dealing with to heal? And once you get the information, then you can go into what Crane is offering is because it's a deep healing, Raven's there to help. And Crane is saying, be patient. Be patient. In that patience, the gift is the knowledge, right? That secret knowledge. Yeah. You know, there's this one thing here with the crow. I'm sorry, the raven, is that notice the hill in the background, right? Do you see that pathway up the hill? Up the mount? It's not a straight line, is it? It's kind of zigzaggy. So perhaps your journey is going to be kind of a zigzag. Yeah. It could be going from, you think you're going a little bit, and isn't it easier to do that when you're walking up a steep hill? Isn't it easier to do that? To take that hill? Because if you walk straight up, have you ever done that? Oh, when you walk straight up a really tall bluff or hill, it takes a lot more energy and stamina to go up straight rather than to do kind of like the zigzag walking back and forth. Now the zigzag does take you a little bit longer, but it's easier. It's easier on your body. Yeah. Oh my. Stephanie's saying Raven looks like it's sitting in a nest. Well, it kind of does look like that, but he's really sitting on a branch. If you look really closely, those are roots there. It could be the roots of the tree that he's sitting on, or maybe it's roots that's going up to the river, to draw water from. So, we could even talk about that, huh? We're talking about ancestral roots, and we're talking about emotional trauma, and look where the roots are going. Right to the water. And Raven is sitting right there, right on top of him. Yeah, and he was sitting, that's a beech nut he's sitting in, if I remember right. Yeah, it's a beech tree. So that is a beech nut that's sitting there on the side there. And remember when we drew the salmon card? The salmon were eating the beech tree nuts, and they're about wisdom. So they were taking the wisdom in. Yeah, they were literally leaping out of the water to try to get the nuts. Yeah, and Tanya says, I always say life is a roller coaster ride. It makes sense for the path to be a zigzag. Yeah, yeah. You know, and the memory I have about walking up a bluff was in a training I was taking in California. And behind the house that we were at was a pretty steep bluff. A pretty steep bluff. And a lot of people would walk up that way because they're trying to get phone reception, especially those who are using satellite, right? It's kind of, I laugh at it now, but you'd see a line of people walking up that way, and they've got their phone, right? And they're like this, trying to get a signal. And yeah, when the first training I took there, because that was at Denise Lynn's house, the only path up that bluff was straight up, and it was hard. You know, you'd get maybe not even halfway up, and you'd have to stop and take a breath. All right, catch your breath and go up another quarter of the way and stop and catch your breath. It was a steep bluff. Now, and I went back a few, was it 2 or 3 years later for another advanced course, and her husband David had cut in a path that was more of a zigzag up, and it made it so much easier to get to the top of the bluff, and we needed to get to the top of the bluff so that we could drum up there. So, yeah. And what do they say? There's more than one path up the mountain, and they're all zigzaggy. Okay, so here we go. We're going to look at these again. Notice that the illustrator is only showing one eye of each of the birds, and we're also looking at the opposites, aren't we? The crow is all about the resolution of opposites. And look, we have a black bird and we have a white bird. We have a white bird with black markings. We have a water bird and a bird that's really more about the land. We got a full moon and we got sunshine. The resolution of opposites. Now, both have water in it. And both are perched, whether on a branch or in the water. They're waiting. One is looking down at the water, not looking at us, and the other one is looking to his left. He could probably, with his peripheral, see us, but he's not looking at us straight on. And he's got his back to us. Yeah. Interesting. I have to say that, these two cards this morning, sitting with them, I got the distinct feeling that the Raven is showing his support of Crane and helping us to go, if we're deciding to do this, is to do that deep healing, because he has the medicine to do that. He also has the medicine that will go to the underworld for us, travel there to bring us back information. Whereas the crane is right at the doorway, right? At the threshold, and can lead us through there, can lead us through to the underworld, to the other side. Yeah. Yeah. So they're more than willing to help us to go there. To go there. So, whatever resonated with you with these two cards, I really do think that they're following up the cards that we had yesterday about the ancestral healing, going to the root of a emotional trauma that has been passed on from one generation to another. And that if you make the choice to be able to identify what that is and to heal it and to release it, that you're going to be going slowly at this. But we have help. we have Crane and Raven more than willing to help us with it. To go get that information. There. That felt good. Rochelle says, I think that collectively we are living a time when historical ancestral traumas are ruling people's reactions and activities. As healers and light givers, it's necessary for us to have patience as well as knowledge, current of what truthfully occurred to us and others, so positively healing individually and collectively. I agree. Because even if you wanted just to believe that you're only doing this for yourself individually, because you're shifting and changing with this healing, and my feeling is that it's a pretty big healing, that we're going to have some large soul growth through this, really gaining some of that wisdom through the ancients, right? That it's going to help us vibrate even closer to our original vibration, our original song that we came in with. And so, of course, we're going to affect everybody and everything around us. Everything is going to shift for the better. Yes, and some things will fall away and some new things will come in, yes. But I agree with Rochelle, is that because we affect everything and everyone around us, it's got to be collective. And because we're sitting here having this conversation, and many of you may actually decide that, yes, this is what I want to do. That we have this collective energy behind it, underneath it, right? That we're supporting each other in this. Yeah. And as a reminder, if you do this, my suggestion is even to come on Wednesday nights and do the healing meditation with Polly Jo, as many times as you can attend, because it's going to be helpful to have to do, because you're going to come in with your own intention, right, and your own spiritual team to work on that. Polly Jo and her team, they help us. They hold a container for us, that sacred space for us, to do whatever our soul needs to do, right? And they help us to do the releasing, whatever that is. So with the collective energy that way, yeah, it's not, we're not doing the heavy lifting all by ourselves, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Bobby is saying, hello, Bobby. Resonates here. Well, good. I'm so glad, Bobby. Thank you for saying that and sharing it. So whatever is resonating with you today about the information, my suggestion is to please embrace it. And then, just watch how the energy is flowing around you and through you, and where this information could be helpful, right? And if it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. It's okay. There's always tomorrow. There's tomorrow's card. This has kind of been a theme for quite a while, is this kind of healing. And this one, I think it's even more potent because we have to look at the time frame and the energy that it came in. We're talking about the equinox and the full moon, and also Mercury retrograde. What is Mercury retrograde about? Communication of all kinds, right? Of all kinds, and also reevaluating, redoing, recalibrating. All those RE words, as Julie Hedges would say. All those RE words. So, all right, so I have a couple of things for you that I would like you to know about this coming week, or this week for Star Nations. It's quite a bit. Well, we have all of the live stream shows, and there is a time change from my weekly show, Communications from Home. I am on at 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 Eastern, tomorrow morning. Tuesday morning. My guest is Ayesha Shiba, and she is from India. And we're talking about the future of spirituality. I think it's going to be pretty good. She's been, working with her gifts for about 20 years now, and she's got some information that she is bringing to a whole lot of people, and so she wants to have this conversation with us. The future of spirituality. That's at 11 a.m. Eastern. And then following that is Polly Joe's show, Chakra Sessions. And she's talking about sound healing and our own vibration. And that's at noon Eastern. And then Wednesday is her evening show, which is Soul Connections. And that's at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's the healing, meditation, and the card draw. Okay. Thursday's a very big day. We got 4 shows for you on Thursday. Starting off with Connie Shearwater with Spiritual Mysteries of Life, and that's at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. And she's talking about higher vibrations on Thursday morning. And then at 3 p.m. Eastern is this daily live stream. And at 4 p.m. Eastern is Maureen Mann's show, Angel Therapy. And so she's talking about angel signs. And she's also doing some card draws the second half of her show. Yeah, that's at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern is the Mystery School. And that's with Carl and Orchard Franklin. And they're going to be talking about the sounds of silence. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty good. All right. Gina is saying, thank you for everything, Neshi. You're welcome, Gina. You're welcome. I also want to share just 1 or 2 things with you about the Academy. We've got several classes coming up over the summer and into the fall. And the one that I wanted to, 2 of them I wanted to tell you about is, the first one is Leslie Serenesi. She's an animal communicator, and she writes for us too, for the magazine. And this is going to be her first time teaching for Star Nations Academy. And she's going to be here in person in Wisconsin at the Academy teaching animal communication level 1. And with that is to be able to communicate with your own pet, other pets. It's going to teach you how to do it from a distance, and also to be able to communicate with those pets who have crossed over. And so if you're interested in animal communication, if it's just for yourself or you've been drawn to it and you're considering maybe this is what I wanted to do as part of my service to the world, that is in April 27th, the weekend of the 27th. Hang on. I got too many things. So here it is. I got too many documents open. The weekend of April 27th. That's Animal Communications with Leslie Serenesi. Oh, and if you decide to register for that, is to please remember to bring a photograph of your pet or pets, okay? Because you'll be communicating with them from a distance. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a good one. I can't wait. Of course, George is right here, but I want to connect with Ginger and see what Ginger has to say, or even Sugar, what those two furry girlfriends have to say on the other side. Yeah. And then, of course, there's Polly Joe's class. That's multi-dimensional quantum healing. And that is May 3rd through the 5th. That's life-changing. Holy smokes. The one that she did this past fall here, that healing session was powerful. Julie was here. Hedges was here for that one. And yeah, so if you're interested in that, that would actually be helpful if you wanted to do that ancestral healing piece, I think, to do it in person with her. And then in June 1st, the weekend of June 1st, is the Total Tarot Immersion with Julie Hedges. Now, I'm excited about this one. Why? Is because it's all hands-on. She wants you to bring your deck of tarot cards. Okay, so if you're signing up for the class, chances are you already have your deck, right? Or a deck. And she wants you to bring it with you because this is going to be hands-on. It's actually a certification course. So to become either a stronger reader because you're already doing tarot card readings, or maybe you're just starting out, right? And so this is going to be a good foundation for you. Yeah, so bring your own cards. This is going to be a really fun weekend. Yes. But when she's talking about immersion, Julie refers to the tarot and astrology as languages. Okay, so you're really tapping into ancient languages with her. So if you're interested in any of those classes, and just those are just 3 of them that we have to offer, I think we have like 6 or 7 total, that you can just go to Star Nation's organization website and then click on the Academy page, and we have them all listed there. Okay. Yeah. So good. All right. We're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for being with me today for the daily live stream and group card draw, the spiritual conversation. And have a good rest of the Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Okay, Eastern time. Ba Mina, until we see each other again. Love you guys.